So let's begin. So the first MCQ says, two water drops coalesce to form a single drop in the process. तो देखें, जब कभी दो वाटर ड्रॉप्स कोलीज करके एक सिंगल ड्रॉप बनाते हैं तो the surface area is decreased. In the decrease of this surface area, surface energy is released. So C is the correct option. EM value of a charged particle depends upon. So E is charge and M is mass. So EM value depends upon both the charge and the mass. So C is the correct option. Highest energy bright line in spectrum is seen in. Now here it is given bright line. So bright line is given out in emission spectrum, not absorption spectrum. So we cut out these absorption options. Now Balmer is higher in energy than Paschen, so B will be the correct option. Electron makes a largest jump in which transition? So here is shell 1 to 3, there is a gap of 1 shell. Then 2 to 5, there is a gap of 2 shells. Then 3 to 4, there is no gap. Then 4 to 6, there is a gap of 2 shells. So 3 to 4 is 1 shell gap, so it will not be the probably correct option. Now between 1, 3 and 4, 6, 1, 3 will not be the correct option because smaller shells are smaller in size. So we compare 2, 5 and 4, 6. So how do we compare? So the difference in radius is 0.529 into larger shell square, which is 5 square 25, minus smaller shell square, which is 2 square 4. So we get here 21. And here if we measure the distance between these two shells, so for 6 shell 6 square is equal to 36, and for 4 shell 4 square is equal to 16, we get 20. So this distance is smaller because it is 0.529 into 20, and this one is 0.5 into 21. So this one is the largest distance. How many possible values of M are present for N is equal to 3? So when we have N is equal to 3, we can have L is equal to 2, 1, 0. Now for 2, we can have 5 possible values of M, which are plus 2, plus 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2. For L is equal to 1, we have 3 M's, 1, 0 and plus 1. And for 0, we have a single value 0. Now these value will overlap with these values of this quantum number L is equal to 2. So total values excluding the overlapping values are 5. So C is the correct option. Orbital that is filled earliest. So we find out the N plus L value of all of them. So 6S, 6 plus 0, 6. 5D, 5 plus 2, 7. 4F, 4 plus 3, 7. And 5P, 5 plus 1, 6. So we arrange them in increasing order. So we will choose those with 6, 1. So those with N plus L value 6 will be chosen first. So we will write 5P earlier than 6S because 5 has smaller n value than 6. So 5P will be filled the earliest. So D is the correct option. Which process violates off-pause principle? So off-pause principle states that electrons will be placed in orbitals in increasing order of their energy. Putting 2 electrons in same orbital with same spin. So within the same orbital, if 2 electrons are placed with same spin, this is violation of Pauli's exclusion principle, not the off-pause principle. An addition of electron in lithium atom goes to 2p orbital. So configuration of lithium atom is 2s1 and 2p is empty. So addition of electron, the next electron would go to 2s to make it complete. So if electron is added to 2p, this is violating off-pause principle because as a rule electron should be added to 2s first to fill it and then proceed with 2p. So this process violates off-pause principle. Which is not a postulate of Weissenberg theory. Lone pair occupies more space around central atom than bond pair. This is a common postulate. Multiple bonds behave as a single bond in determining geometry. This is also correct. Forces of repulsion decrease with increasing bond angle. This is also correct. As the bond angle increases, the atoms and electron pairs go away, therefore forces of repulsion decrease. Multiple bonds do not change bond angles. This is wrong. Multiple bonds, although in determining the geometry, they play the role of a single bond, but they do affect bond angles to a slight extent. So D is the correct option. SO3 is isostructural too. So SO3 has sulfur as the central atom belonging to group 6 and it has a triangular planar geometry. So among the given options, BF3 also has a triangular planar geometry. It belongs to group number 3. True about pi bond. It exists independently. This is wrong. It always exists in addition to sigma bond. Cannot exist without sigma bond. This is correct. It is stronger than sigma bond. It is wrong. It is weaker than sigma bond. And it is more diffused than sigma bond. So B is the correct option. In which mode of hybridization all the hybrid orbitals exist in a single plane? So in sp hybridization, we have two hybrid orbitals that lie at 180-degree angles to each other and in a single plane. In sp2, we have three hybrid orbitals oriented at an angle of 120-degree with respect to each other and lying in a single plane. And in dsp2 hybridization, we have four hybrid orbitals all lying in a single plane as square plane. So all of them contain the hybrid orbitals in a single plane. Difference in calculated and experimental bond energy is maximum in case of. So experimental bond energy is raised when there is polarity in the bond. So the greater the polarity of bond, the greater will be the difference in calculated and experimental bond energy. So HF is highly polar, therefore its bond energy is quite different from that is calculated. So that is given in the table in the book. 1 dBi, the unit of dipole moment, is equal to. So 1 dBi is equal to 3.336 into 10 raised to power minus 30 coulombs meter. That is also from the book. Strongest IM forces are present in the mixture of. So HCl is polar, helium is non-polar, so they have dipole-induced dipole forces. C6H6 benzene is non-polar and toluene is non-polar. They have London forces. This is a secondary amine and water. They form hydrogen bond with each other. So this is the strongest force and these two form dipole. Boiling point of water at an external pressure of 0.425 atm is. So this is taken from the book table and it says 72 degrees centigrade. Lowest boiling point among the following. So these values are also taken from the book. So here we have lowest boiling point for diethyl ether. Rest two are hydrogen bonded molecules, therefore their boiling point is higher. Molar heat of vaporization is greatest for. So molar heat of vaporization would be greatest when the IM forces are stronger. So strongest IM forces are in I2, so its molar heat of vaporization is greatest. So this is also from book table. The increase per unit volume when the temperature is increased by 1 degree centigrade is called. So this is the definition of expansion. Elements of symmetry are, so basically there are three elements of symmetry. First is plane of symmetry, second is axis of symmetry, and third is center of symmetry. So these three are elements of symmetry. Which salt does not exhibit the phenomenon of polymorphism? So these three are given in book tables as examples. NaCl only shows cubic geometry. It does not show polymorphism. Unit cell with all the lengths unequal but all the angles 90 degree are. So orthorhombic is unit cell in which all the three lengths are unequal but all the angles are 90 degree. Solid that shows conduction of electricity in pure state. So solid that conducts electricity, mercury is liquid in pure state, diamond is solid in pure state but it is non-conductor of electricity, graphite is solid in state and it is conductor of electricity, so C is the correct option. Which is an example of heterogeneous equilibrium? So hydrolysis of ester involves ester and water and H2SO4, and all of them are in liquid phase. Formation of nitric oxide involves all the gases. Decomposition of PCl5 also involves all the gases. So decomposition of CaCO3 is heterogeneous equilibrium where calcium carbonate is solid and its product calcium oxide is solid, whereas carbon dioxide is a gas. Therefore, it is a heterogeneous equilibrium reaction. If the value of Kc is greater than 1, then so basically Kc is equal to forward constant divided by reverse constant. So if Kc is greater than 1, it means that Kf is greater than Kr. So D is the correct option. For the reaction 2NO forms N2 plus O2, the correct relationship between all the equilibrium constants. So here keep in mind that the moles of products are 2 and moles of reactants are 2. So when moles of reactants are and products are 2, so the term delta N becomes equal to 0. Therefore, all these constants become equal to each other. 2SO2 plus O2 forms 2SO3. If Kc for the reaction is 1.5 and at a certain stage of reaction the concentration of SO2 and SO3 is 1 and that of O2 is 0.5, then what is true regarding the direction of reaction to achieve equilibrium? So Kc is equal to 1.5. Kc is basically the ratio of products and reactants at equilibrium. Now, at a certain stage of reaction, we calculate Qc. So Qc is equal to products SO3 square divided by reactants SO2 square into O2. So concentration at certain stage for SO3 is 1, for SO2 is 1, and for O2 is 0.5. So here we get 2. So Qc is 2 at the time we have measured it, which means that Qc is greater than Kc. So whenever Qc is greater than Kc, the reaction will move backward to achieve equilibrium. The reaction 3H2 plus N2 forms 2NH3 plus heat. So it is giving out heat. Now it will move forward when? So temperature is increased. No, this is exothermic reaction. It will move forward when temperature is decreased. Volume is increased. If volume is increased, the reaction will move to that side where number of moles is greater. So reaction will move backward. Catalyst is used. Catalyst does not change the position of reaction. Pressure is increased, this is correct. By increasing the pressure, reaction moves towards the side of low moles. So D is the correct option. Ksp of salt AB is 1 into 10 raised to the power minus 2. If a solution contains 0.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 1 cations, then the true relationship between Ksp and ionic product. So Ksp is basically equal to x square for AB. So for cation and anion both, we have Ksp as x square. So concentration given is 0.5 into 10 raised to power minus 1 square. So we get here 0.25 into 10 raised to power minus 2. And Ksp is 1 into 10 raised to power minus 2. It means that Ksp is greater than the ionic product, which means the time at which we have measured the concentration of ions, it is smaller than the actual Ksp. So, ionic product is lesser than the Ksp. B is the correct option. For salt AxBy, Ksp can be represented as, for AxBy, we can write A, Y plus and X moles of this salt, and B, X minus and Y moles of this substance. So Ksp will be written as A plus Y raised to the power X and B minus X raised to the power Y. So C is the correct option. Buffer that turns red litmus blue, it means that basic buffer. So which is a basic buffer? So basic buffer is formed by weak base and it's salt with a strong acid. So FeOH3 is a weak base and Fe2SO4 is its salt with a strong acid H2SO4. So this is a basic buffer. The slope of pressure of volume graph in Boyle's law. So in Boyle's law, with increase in pressure, the volume decreases. So the slope goes on decreasing. You see, the slope is first steep and the slope becomes less steeper. So the slope decreases with increasing pressure. For 1 mole of an ideal gas, the compressibility factor is given by. So we have PV is equal to RT for 1 mole of ideal gas. So PV by RT is equal to Z or compressibility factor. So B is the correct option. Rate of diffusion of helium is 2 times greater than. So rate of diffusion of helium is 2 times greater than an unknown gas. So let's take helium as gas 1 and unknown gas as gas 2. So rate of diffusion is 2 times the rate of diffusion of unknown gas. Molar mass of unknown gas is unknown and this is 4 for helium. So taking 4 here, 2 into under root 4 is equal to under root m2. Taking squares on both sides, we get 4 into 4 is equal to m2 and it is equal to 16. So this is molar mass for CH4. 2.4 grams of CH4 at STP occupies a volume of. So we get the number of moles for 2.4 grams of CH4. Multiply it with 22.4 decimeter cube. So we convert this 2.4 into 24 and convert this 22.4 into 2.24. So 16 ones are 16 and 16 1.5s are 24. Now 1.5 into 2.24 is equal to 3.36. So C is the correct option. Helium, hydrogen, CH4 are enclosed in a container generating a total pressure of 52 atmospheres. If equal masses of all the gases were taken, the partial pressure of helium would be. So we have helium, hydrogen and CH4. Now molar mass of CH4 is 16, hydrogen is 2 and helium is 8. Now for CH4 we take molar ratio as 1. Now hydrogen is 8 times lighter than CH4, so its molar ratio will be 8 times greater. Then helium is 4 times lighter than CH4, its molar ratio is 4 times greater. Now the partial pressure of helium is, its molar ratio is 4, total moles are 4 plus 8 plus 1, 13 and total pressure is 52. So 13 4s are 52 and it becomes 16 atmospheres. At a condition of high pressure and low temperature, which postulate of KMT does not remain viable. So at higher temperature and low pressure, two postulates of KMT do not remain viable. First is that there are no attractive forces between molecules because under such condition attractive forces do develop. And second, volume occupied is negligible. At high pressure, volume occupied by molecules is no longer negligible. So 1 and 2 postulates are not viable at high pressure and low temperature. Correct relationship between 1 gram and 1 AMU. Now you see, for carbon, 1 atom of carbon is equal to 12 atomic mass unit. And 6.02 into 10 raised to power 23 atoms is equal to 12 grams. So it means that 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23 multiply by atomic mass unit is equal to 1 gram. So 1 atomic mass unit is equal to 1 gram divided by 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23. So this is equal to 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23 AMU is equal to 1 grams. Mass of 1.5 into 10 raised to power 22 molecules of oxygen gas. So basically 1 mole contains 6.02 into 10 raised to power 23 molecules. Now 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 22 molecules are how much times lesser? So 1.5 is 4 times lesser and this one is 10 times lesser. So we take 32 divided by 40. So 32 grams is the given mass and 40 times lesser molecules are given here. So 32 divided by 40 is equal to 0.8 grams. So C is the correct option. How much CO2 is produced by decomposing 62.5 grams of ZnCO3? So ZnCO3 is decomposed to give ZnO plus CO2. So basically the given mass is 65 grams. Its molar mass would be 62.5, the molar mass would be. So zinc is 65 plus carbon is 12 plus 3 oxygens are 48. So this becomes equal to 125. So now given mass is 62.5 and molar mass is 125, which means 0.5 moles of zinc carbonate are given. They give out 0.5 moles of carbon dioxide. Now 0.5 moles of carbon dioxide equal 11.2 decimeter cube. A 10 gram sample contains iron and magnesium only. If the percentage of iron in sample is 40%, how many atoms of magnesium are present? So total 10 gram sample is present. In this 40% is iron, which means 4 gram is iron and 6 gram is magnesium. So in 6 gram of magnesium, how much atoms are present? So in 6 gram, we first find out mole. 6 divided by 24 is equal to 0.25. So now number of atoms is equal to 0.25 into 6.02 into 10 raised to power 23. It equals 1.5 into 10 raised to power 23. So C is the correct option. In the reaction, CO2 plus H2O forms H2CO3. 30 grams of carbon dioxide react with 27 grams of H2O. The limiting reagent is. So 30 grams carbon dioxide is given and 27 grams H2O is given. Now the moles of H2O are 27 divided by 18 is equal to 1.5. So here we have 1.5 moles of H2O. And for carbon dioxide, we get 30 divided by 44, which is less than 1. So less than 1 moles of carbon dioxide are given and 1.5 moles of H2O are given. According to balanced chemical equation, 1 moles of both of them react with each other. And 1.5 moles of H2O require 1.5 moles of carbon dioxide, but we have lesser carbon dioxide moles. So carbon dioxide is the limiting reagent. Which is not an isotope of phosphorus. So isotope contains same number of protons but different number of neutrons. So when the number of protons would be different, so that would not be isotope of phosphorus. Keep in mind its proton number is 15. So 30 minus 15, 15 protons. This is isotope. 32 minus 17, 15 protons. Again it is isotope. 31 minus 15, 16 protons. It is not isotope of phosphorus but it is isotope of sulfur. Rate of zero order reaction, it stays the same because it does not depend upon the concentration of reactant. A complex reaction is given 2A2 plus B2 forms 2A2B and the 4 steps are given. If the reaction is second order, the rate determining step is. So we have to find out that step in which 2 molecules are involved, which is this or this step. Now K is smaller for this step, which means that this is a slower step. Therefore, this one is the rate determining step. Activation energy is higher for reverse reaction is. So C, the exothermic reaction where reactants are higher in energy and products are lesser in energy. Now when the reaction will go backward, the products will get converted into reactants and the activation energy will get higher because the reverse reaction is endothermic. So exothermic reaction has endothermic as its reverse reaction, therefore its activation energy would be higher. Which is not a consequence of increase in internal energy. Change in kinetic energy, this is correct. Phase change, correct. Chemical reaction, correct. These 3 are given in your book. Work done on the system is not the consequence of increase in internal energy, but the increase in internal energy itself is a consequence of work done on the system. So D is the correct option. At constant volume, the correct equation of heat absorbed by the system is, so heat absorbed at constant volume equals the change in internal energy, and heat absorbed at constant pressure equals the change in enthalpy. So D is the correct option. For which substance the heat of formation is not zero? So this is taken from the book table. So for diamond, the heat of formation is not zero. Rest of them have zero heat of formation. Strong electrolyte among given is barium sulfate is insoluble because calcium, barium and lead, these three sulfates you need to remember, they are weak electrolytes. NH4OH is a weak base, therefore it is a weak electrolyte. Magnesium carbonate, group 2 carbonates are again weak electrolytes. Rubidium nitrate, this is a group 1 salt, so it is a strong electrolyte. Oxidation of bromine in NaBrO3 is, so one oxygen is -2, 3 oxygens are -6, sodium is +1, to balance it bromine is +5, so D is the correct option. In the reaction K2Cr2O7 plus 6Ki plus 7H2SO4, choose the true statement. So here iodine is -1 and here it is oxidized to 0. So Ki is oxidized, therefore this is the reducing agent. Here chromium is +6 and here chromium is +3. So chromium is reduced, therefore chromium is the oxidizing agent. So Cr+6 is the oxidizing agent. Potential of two half cells is given. So here lead is being reduced, so its reduction potential is -0.13, so its oxidation potential is +0.13. And here chlorine is being reduced, its reduction potential is 1.36 plus. So if two cells are coupled, the potential of galvanic cell would be, so the reduction potential for chlorine is greater. So it means that if the two cells are coupled, chlorine will be reduced and lead will be oxidized. So overall potential would be oxidation potential of lead plus reduction potential of chlorine. So it becomes equal to 1.49 volts. So C is the correct option. Correct change when silver electrode is coupled with She. So basically silver lies below hydrogen. Therefore silver will get reduced when silver is coupled with SHE. So correct change is B. Which chemical change is not involved in corrosion? So in the process of corrosion, Fe3 plus is not reduced into Fe plus 2, but Fe plus 2 is oxidized to Fe plus.